part of this live broadcast. We're coming to you from the Kigali Convention Center, where we have the special honor of interacting with President Paul Kagame. It has been a while since we had a similar engagement. If my memory serves me right, the last time we had a press conference with the president was last year, November, of this live broadcast. We're coming to you since that the Kigali Convention Center, where we have the special honor of interacting with President Paul Kagame. We're looking forward to it has been a while since we had a similar engagement. If my memory serves me right, the last time we had a press conference with the president was last year, November, Rwanda, this live broadcast. We're coming to you since that the Kigali Convention Center, where we have the special honor of interacting with President Paul Kagame. It has been a while since we had a similar engagement. If my memory serves me right, the last time we had a press conference with the media last year, November, such as live broadcast. We're coming to you since that the Kigali Convention Center, where we have the special honor of interacting with President Paul Kagame. It has been a while since we had a similar where we come to my memory and last time I had a press conference with media last year, realize there are government officials that have been invited. We will have ministers, and the good thing about having ministers and other government officials in a place like this is that if there's a question that the president will feel needs to be answered by the person or the official responsible, he will easily direct it at them, and that will happen. Please do follow this conversation live on our different channels, TV, our radio stations, our YouTube channel, and share your thoughts. If you'll have questions, you will have suggestions and comments, please do share them. That is why we have this engagement happening. Rwanda is in the news. We keep saying all eyes are on Rwanda because there are many good things happening in this country, and so we will have an opportunity for some of those to be highlighted. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jackie. Reka rero tubwire ko mu kanya katarambiranye nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika Paul Kagame aza kuba ageze hano. Ikiganiro cyose rero agirana n'abanyamakuru mukaza kugikurikira uko cyakabaye, mugumane natwe.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you for taking the time to meet here today with members of the press and content creators from around the continent. My name is Samantha Teta. I will be moderating this discussion. With your permission, Your Excellency, may we proceed directly to the questions? Thank you, sir. I would like to remind members of the press, will you please introduce yourselves and your media house, and then please limit yourself to one question so everyone can get a turn. If you have a question, please.
Maybe let me say
Yes, sir.
a word or two before we get started. Always aware, like you are, talk about where we are on a number of things. I think we can talk about the economy, the country and how it is operating under all kinds of constraints, as we know them. In terms general, external factors leading to that. We may talk about regional integration, which has been on the agenda for every country that is part of this Eastern African region. We may talk about conflicts, mainly the one in our immediate region and neighborhood. We may talk about global issues, regional integration, which has been politics and on the agenda, but I can't forget to thank Rwandans who stay the course and contribute to the stability of the country and contribute to other situations far away from here under different circumstances. I think some of the achievements or the progress thereof made in the country. It's largely because of our population, our people who, even when there are serious problems, they still stand tall and work together and confront the challenges without too much complaining, because that doesn't necessarily solve the problems. So that's a bit of where we are, and you're welcome with the questions. Any question?
Thank you, sir.
even if it doesn't fall within those things I have mentioned.
Yes, Mary?
Good evening. Evening. My name is Mary Wangare from the East African Nairobi. My question is in regards to the African. Continental Free Trade Agreement. Would you have any concerns about this ambitious agreement that was launched? During your tenure as the chairperson of the AU reforms, because the trading is not happening. It seems not to be happening as it was. Intended to, basically because of the non-tariff barriers and among other issues regarding the free trade agreement. Right. The chairperson of the AU reforms, because the
I take one by one, maybe. Yes, easier to answer directly. Question. Well, first of all, for one, I'm happy that
trading is not happening. It seems not to be happening as it was.
that step was made for Africa to come together and not only think about, but put a framework in which we are going to realize broader trade within the continent and trading with each other through and guided by ukajya muri izo nganda ugatwara ibyo inganda zikoresha warangiza wataha wakwifuza gufata ku byavuye mu byo watwaye mu nganda ukahakwa. Ibyo ni ubuzima abantu bakwiriye kuba bemera bakurikira. Ariko noneho wenda turavuga ibya hano gusa and doing it nabyo kandi bifite agaciro nabyo duhereye. Ibyo binyobwa byica abantu nta nubwo ibyo rero ntabwo ndumva neza igihe ibyo rero ntabwo ndumva neza igihe umuntu waba bishyigikiye ngo atekereze inganda atekereze abantu bakora muri izo nganda ukuyemo abo byica umunsi ku wundi nk'uko bizwi nk'uko mubibona umunsi ku wundi nk'uko bizwi nk'uko mubibona cause frustration now and for what reasons abo rero the Africans reba must be frustrated nk'uruganda cyangwa uburyo abantu bateguye ibyo binyobwa byaba ari mu ruganda byaba ari mu rugo byaba ari hehe. We can't just keep complaining. Byisha abantu uyu munsi getting together. Birongeye wowe ibyo ukora ndavuga ahantu hamwe birongeye byisha abandi uwundi munsi ikindi gihe. Birongeye byisha abandi. I'm talking about the same place. Ndavuga ahantu hamwe birongeye byisha abandi ahandi ikindi gihe. Put in place. Ukavuga ngo urakora ikize. Ariko noneho usibye wowe bikora bikica abantu. Iki gihugu.
Thank you, Excellency. We'll take the next question from the RBA.
Cyareka abantu bagapfa gusa kikarebera icyo kiba ari igihugu ni igihugu gifite.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwayo Divin nkorera RBA.
Ni nayo mpamvu
nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika leta imaze iminsi ifata ingamba zikomeye ku binyobwa bisembuye n'inzoga zitujuje ubuziranenge. Zimwe mu nganda zarafunzwe, ibicuruzwa bimwe biramenwa, ndetse ba nyir'inganda abazikoreraga n'abakozi ba leta bakurikiranyweho kugira uruhare muri iki kibazo. Hari abavuga ku buzima bw'abaturage ko bwari mu kaga kubera izi nzoga, ariko nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika hari n'abandi bavuga ku gihombo cy'abashoramari n'abacuruzi. Kuri mwe iki kibazo murakivugaho iki, gikwiriye gusiga irihe somo yaba ku bacuruzi ndetse no ku nzego za leta zishinzwe ubuziranenge n'ubutumwa muha abaturage bijyanye n'iki kibazo? Murakoze.
Kuri icyo kibazo si ibyo gusa kwibaza gusa ibivugwa niba mu bikurikira kwibaza ibivugwa abantu bavuga ibintu bashatse ibyo ari byo byose. Hari ibindi by'ibiyobyabwenge n'imitekerereze yabo abantu bahinduye, bagiye murabiririmba mu byita amazina y'igitangaza birica abantu, birica abantu n'ibigaragara n'ibyo tubona noneho biba n'abakuru. Hari ibyo binyobwa bidafite ubuziranenge na gake ndetse bihita n'abantu. Twahera aho ngaho twakwibaza, ariko ibi nibyo byica abantu, byisha abantu, tugaheraho honyine. Igisubizo ugishaka wese aragifite. Byica abantu, byisha abantu, ndetse batagira umubare. Mukurikira rero nyine amakuru nk'uko bamwe muri mwe mugomba kuba mukurikira. Ntabwo ari ukuvuga ngo hapfuye abantu babiri gusa uyu munsi, ngo ejo hapfuye undi umwe. Barapfa ari 20, 30, 50. Hari ubwo hapfuye abagera ari hafi kugera mu 100. Ndavuga ku munsi umwe. Ugiye gushyira hamwe abamaze gupfa mu mwaka, barabyumva uko abantu bangana. Mbere yuko ngera kuri ibyo bindi by'inganda by'abakozi, tubanze dusubize ikibazo cy'ubuzima cy'aba bantu. Ese turashaka inganda n'abakozi bazikoramo bari buhitanwe n'ibikorerwa muri izo nganda, cyangwa turashaka ibihitana abantu batwaye mu nganda kugurisha ibikenewe n'izo nganda, ukajya muri izo nganda ugatwarayo ibyo inganda zikoresha, warangiza wataha wakwifuza gufata ku byavuye mu byo watwaye mu nganda ukahagwa. Ibyo ni ubuzima abantu bakwiriye kuba bemera bakurikira. Ariko noneho wenda turavuga ibya hano gusa, nabyo kandi bifite agaciro, nabyo duhereyeho. Ibyo binyobwa byica abantu nta nubwo ari ibikorerwa hano cyangwa ibituruka hano gusa, hari n'ibituruka hanze. Ibituruka hanze bizanwa bituje ubuziranenge bikica abantu, maze mu kwica hari ubwoko, hari uburyo butandukanye. Hari ibibica uwo munsi, icyo cyumweru, hari nabo bizica nyuma y'umwaka. Kwica buhoro ukagenda uko binywa bikagenda bikwica kugeza igihe umuntu anogoka nyuma y'umwaka. Ibyo rero ntabwo ndumva neza igihe umuntu waba bishyigikiye ngo atekereze inganda, atekereze abantu bakora muri izo nganda, ukuyemo abo byica umunsi ku wundi nk'uko bizwi, nk'uko mubibona. Abo rero reba nk'uruganda cyangwa uburyo abantu bateguye ibyo binyobwa, byaba ari mu ruganda, byaba ari mu rugo, byaba ari hehe, byisha abantu uyu munsi. Birongeye wowe ibyo ukora, ndavuga ahantu hamwe, birongeye byisha abandi uwundi munsi, ikindi gihe. Birongeye byisha abandi, I'm talking about the same place, ndavuga ahantu hamwe. Birongeye byisha abandi ahandi ikindi gihe. Ubu ukavuga ngo urakora ikize. Ariko noneho usibye wowe ubikora bikica abantu, iki gihugu kiyoborwa gite? Igihugu cyareka abantu bagapfa gusa kikarebera cyo kiba ari igihugu ki? Ni igihugu gifite imibereho imeze ite? Ni nayo mpamvu bariya bashinzwe imirimo itandukanye ireba ibi by'ubuziranenge, uvuga bakurikiranwaho, babazwa ibyo babazwa, nicyo bagiriyeho. Izo nzego zigiriyeho kureba ngo ibikorwa ibyo ari byo byose ntabwo byica abantu, ahubwo ni ibifasha ubuzima bw'abantu gutera imbere. Bamwe muri aba rero ndibwira ko babifitemo uruhare, ndetse bashobora kuba bafite n'uruhare muri izo nganda, cyangwa se abafite izo nganda babahuma amaso bakareka ibintu byabo bigahita bikajya kwica abantu. Ibyo niko ntekereza, ariko noneho bazabyisubiririza igihe bakurikiranweho ibyo ngibyo, nibo bazabisubiza, nta wundi wabibasubiriza. Si ibyo gusa, n'ibindi tumaze iminsi tuvuga, niba mubikurikira, ibi biyobyabwenge abantu hari ibyo binyobwa, hari ibindi by'ibiyobyabwenge abantu bahinduye, mwagiye murabiririmba mubyita amazina y'igitangaza, mugira muti birica abantu, birica abana, birica abantu batoya. Iki gihugu n'abakuru hari ababirimo, ndetse birica abantu. Igihugu cyaberaho kugira ngo kirebere abantu bapfa, abantu bacyo bapfa. Ntuvuga ngo hatazagira ubaza bakwiriye kubaza impamvu abantu bapfa, ntabwo ari ukubaza impamvu ibyica abantu bicibwa. Kuri iyo ntambara rero, abanyumva cyangwa n'ababirimo bo babyiteguye, ntabwo abo turaza guhangana nabo nyine. Ibintu baraza kujya ku murongo uko bikwiye, abantu bazi icyo bisaba, baragishoboye. Ariko ibyo kujya kuzana imico n'imikorere yica abantu aho bayivana birabareba aho ngaho handi, niba barabyemeye. Ibyo ntabwo bindeba, ntabwo aho handi handeba. Jye n'umuyobozi w'iki gihugu ndareba iby'iki gihugu n'Abanyarwanda no gukorana nabo kugira ngo bashobore kumenya ibibafitiye inyungu n'ibitabafitiye inyungu. Ushaka rero ko nta burenga amategeko cyangwa gukora abandi bagomba gukora uko yifuza ibyo ari byo byose. Umuyobozi w'iki gihugu ndareba iby'iki gihugu ari byo bishyirwa imbere, abo ngabo bazabanyarwanda no gukorana nabo kugira ngo bashobore kumenya ibibafitiye. Hari ikintu nabonye mu byo nsoma n'iki, ushaka rero ko nta burenga amategeko cyangwa gukora yabaza ariko se gukora uko yifuza ibyo ari byo byose, kunenga uko bikorwa, uko bishyirwa imbere, abo ngabo bazabanyarwanda uko bikurikiranwa, uko abantu bafatwa, uko bashobore kumenya ibibafitiye. Hari ikintu nabagenzwa ushobora gusoma n'ikibazo uko abantu bavuga. Ushaka rero ko nta burenga amategeko cyangwa niba ari icyo yabaza ariko se ikibazo gitoza ibyo ari byo byose, ugereranya uko bikorwa, uko bishyirwa imbere, abo ngabo bazabanyarwanda uko bikurikiranwa, uko abantu bafatwa, bashobora kuba bashobore kumenya inzego zibishinzwe n'abagenzwa ushobora gusoma n'ikibazo baba bakora ibintu ushaka ari byo nta burenga amategeko niba ari icyo yabaza ariko se ikibazo gitavana abantu byose, ugereranya uko bikorwa, uko bishyirwa imbere, abo ngabo bazabanyarwanda uko bikurikiranwa, abantu bakora ikibazo bashobora kuba bashobore kumenya inzego zibishinzwe n'abagenzwa bashobora gusoma n'ikibazo baba bakora ibintu ushaka ari byo nta burenga amategeko niba ari icyo yabaza ariko se ikibazo gitavana abantu byose, ugereranya uko bikorwa, uko bishyirwa imbere, abo ngabo bazabanyarwanda uko bikurikiranwa, abantu bakora ikibazo bashobora kuba bashobore kumenya inzego zibishinzwe n'abagenzwa bashobora gusoma n'ikibazo baba bakora ibintu ushaka ari byo nta burenga amategeko niba ari icyo yabaza arigeza babiri ko ntabwo byavana abantu byose, ugereranya uko bikorwa, uko bishyirwa imbere, abo ngabo bazabikurikiranwa.
It's over a year since Washington peace agreement, but till now, FDR, thank you, Excellence, Rwanda security. Of recent case, we had of new cantonal Excellence, surrender over a year, FDR and Washington peace agreement. The Congo is putting it out now as a commitment to the Washington. Thank you, Excellence. Peace and security. Of recent, Your Excellency, we had does Rwanda see it new cantonal as surrender over a year process that was put into the agreement? All it is, the Congo is putting it out now as a commitment to the Washington. Thank you, Excellence. Peace and security. Of recent, Your Excellency, we had does Rwanda see it new cantonal has surrender over a year process that was put into the agreement. All it is, the Congo is putting it out now as a commitment to the Washington. Thank you, Excellence. Peace and security. Of recent, Your Excellency, we had does Rwanda see it new cantonal has surrender over a year process that was put into the agreement. All it is, the Congo is putting it out now as a commitment to the Washington. Thank you, Excellence. Peace and security. Of recent, Your Excellency, we had does Rwanda see it new cantonal has surrender over a year process that was put into the agreement. All it is, the Congo is putting it out now as a commitment to the Washington. Thank you, Excellence. Peace and security. We had does Rwanda see it new cantonal has over a year process that was put into the agreement. All it is, the Congo is putting it out now as a commitment to the Washington. Thank you, Excellence. Peace and security.
not conclusive for one
Does Rwanda see new autonomous privatization process that was put into the as a commitment? The Washington
Thank you, Excellency. Are not conclusive for one
Does Rwanda see new autonomous privatization process that was put into the as a commitment? The Washington
Thank you, Excellency. Are not conclusive for one
Does Rwanda see new autonomous privatization process that was put into the
simplified, and they say it is Rwanda the problem. Meaning, if we didn't have Rwanda, or if there was a way of carrying this country somewhere and turn it into an island in the Pacific or Indian Ocean or wherever, remove it from here. That may be a solution. That's what they imply here. That maybe a solution would be found. But ask yourself whether that really is true. There are many parties to this program. One is Congo. The other is the international community that has really messed up this whole thing from the beginning, as we know it. There is Rwanda. There are other countries of our region. All these have a way they have contributed to the problem and a way they can contribute to a solution. But the way it is handled seems not to put that into account. And that's why the problem goes on forever. Nobody addresses the root cause of this problem. I haven't heard of any effort so far that focuses and tries to address the root cause. It's always something superficial. It's one day, FDR, yes, they are there. Then the next day, no, they are not there. Actually, they were finished. Then another day, who are the FDR after all? I think Rwanda is just creating this thing as an excuse to go and steal minerals in Congo. And this kind of, I don't know what to call it, the kind of argument that goes on, even with the people you thought they were really serious. I think sometimes we overrate the capacity of leaders and countries and so. When you listen to some of these arguments and the people they come from, you really wonder what you have to deal with. So no root cause addressed. Then immediately there are sanctions. sanctions. I've never understood. You know, sanctions, yes, they really create problems. They do. But that is all. there are problems added to the problems that were originally there. That's all. It's not anything to do with trying to address the problem. And especially if you look at the manner in which they are applied. Instead of sanctioning FDLR or those who work with them or support them, they sanction those who fight them. I mean, I don't understand the logic. Then instead of saying, in Eastern Congo, there is a problem of Congolese who are involved in this conflict for their own rights, the AFC, M23, and many other groups that have been fighting there. So, what is the origin of this problem? Is it really Rwanda's case to answer? Are we the ones denying these Congolese their rights in the Congo? Are we even the ones who actually made them fight to restore their rights in the Congo? I will always come back to inform you as whether you want to keep it in mind or what. Even the origin of this conflict, as we know it, which started in, is it 2022 or what? We are now running into, is it 22? October 21, running into 22. How did it start? Actually, this conflict was started by Congo itself, working with people to have this invasion into Congo start, and the plan was always to put it on the shoulders of Rwanda. Try, without mentioning names, without anything, you people try to, as you live here, find out where did these people who are fighting originate from. Where did they come from? Did they come from Rwanda? If you find they came from Rwanda, maybe there is a reason to say, yeah, but there is something Rwanda is not saying in full. They are giving us a piece of story. Find out. So, the start of this conflict is not by Rwanda. And then Rwanda comes to own the problem, the origin of the problem. It is made to own the origin of the problem. Our Rwanda's problem has always been FDLR in Congo. I can repeat it 100 times. And if this problem of FDLR is not resolved, of course, Rwanda will always remain involved as part of this problem. I mean, there are no two ways about it. And this is something we have said for the last 30 years. So if you don't want Rwanda, if anybody keeps saying Rwanda, 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 and doesn't want Rwanda to have anything to say in this, why don't you remove this problem and see whether Rwanda was using it as an excuse? But there is even open information. By the way, people in Kinshasa, the government and officials, they say it publicly, openly. They've said it many times over a long time. They tell you, yeah, they want to bring change in Rwanda. The people that are saying this, FDLR, yeah, we see, okay, we are going to deal with them, we are going, like you said, they are the ones saying it. They are saying they have done something about FDLR, it is because they are there. If they were not there, they wouldn't be doing anything with or against FDLR. But what we know on a regular basis, they arm them, they integrate them in their own forces, and we have evidence because we have people here, former FDLR combatants who have been part of all those efforts. And either some of them came back home on their own or were captured in Congo, and they are telling the same story. You people, if you know a place called Mutobo, there is a place called Mutobo where we take people and for the effort of reintegrating them in the society. These people are there, they give you space to interview directly these people who will tell you these stories. The same people of the UN, the same people in the US, the same people in Europe, the same people who keep asking questions, some of them representing their own governments, have actually been there and they have been told these things, and the very people involved have given them anything and everything they wanted to know about FDLR and how it is well embedded and supported by and in Congo. So these questions that keep coming, you know, I mean, we live in a world that is like this. We have to deal with it the way it is. So for us, I mean, we have calmed ourselves down and are having to deal with the world that we have. We cannot create our own world. That's too much for us. So we deal with it as the way it is. We carry the blame that is not ours. We've been insulted, abused, belittled, and to a point that sometimes people are made to feel like you really don't matter in this world. What they tell us, what they keep saying, it's like they're giving us a message, you don't matter. So sanctioning is just to punish you, to drive the screw hard into your back. And at that expense, they promote whoever they want to promote for whatever reasons that are not my business. But the question remains, how do we behave ourselves? One, we behave in a manner that protects us at any cost. We will do anything that contributes to that protection, day or night. There are no two ways about it. That one we will, no question. We will also try to do what is right. If we, you know, we are a country that can't afford to mess up. If you give there's so many enemies, we have an excuse, a chance to bring it to us. I think it will be largely our mistake. So we try to avoid that. We do what is right to protect ourselves, and we will do it without fear or favor, day or night, anytime. We are happy to do that. Actually, it's a pleasure to do the hardest task to protect ourselves. That's what it is. And the rest, what we try to do is actually, we've been trying to team up with other countries in bringing peace in different parts of our continent. And that simply underlines how much we want peace. Rwanda, we want peace. To the point that we are ready to fight for it. And that's our main thing. We want peace, and we want to work with others to have peace. So with all that I have given you, figure out what answers your question. But that's what it is.
Thank you, Excellency. We'll take the next question. We'll take one from James Munyaneza, Tinti.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is James Munyaneza. I'm from the New Times. And I want also to go back to the issue of the region. Of course, we have Burundi to the south. And the president of Burundi recently said that there were conversations with Rwanda, and Rwanda made the commitments that he claims Rwanda did not honor. If you could shed some light around that, and this relates to the suspects linked to 2015.
Around something that didn't happen.
Okay, I think that's very important to understand, because he made these claims.
But let's be clear. That where did that happen and when?
So from what you were saying, it sounded like there had been conversations between the two countries, bilateral engagements.
When? What time? Because the time matters.
I think that was not clear from what he said.
So everything is not clear.
Okay.
I don't know how you can answer that.
Yeah,
because there is no commitment we ever made that we did not fulfill.
Okay.
Not with the president of Burundi, not with anybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Unless really something comes up specifically, then I will answer it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's now clear enough.
But maybe you might find one night he dreamt and thought it had happened.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember when we talked, and actually he's the one who did not do what he, and I think I have ever said this, at the beginning, when the Burundi forces went to the north of Kivu North in Goma and other things. When we learned it, we learned about it through intelligence. I called I'm the one who called the president of Burundi that time and asked him, I asked him that I have heard there are forces of Burundi going to our north Kivu. I said, why would you be, and I told him, I said, there have also been these accusations that Burundi, in a way, has been associated with this FDLR. Much earlier, before there had been some, you remember, in the Nyungwe area when there was, there were reports and there were incursions from Burundi, some group called this, they have some name.
FLN?
FLN. They were coming from there. So I said, but I have heard, on top of that, association of Burundi with FDLR. Now I'm hearing that you are sending forces to North Kivu. I said, President, is this true? The man said, no. It was like, who told you? There is nothing like that. In fact, he insisted, he told me I should cross-check my information. That those people who just want to cause problems, must be people who told me lies, and so on and so forth. I said, President, I will take your word, much as I think the reports I received were credible. But I will take your word for it. I mean, a couple of weeks after, they were captured in the North Kivu. Yes, I had discussed it with him. So I don't tell lies like he did to me. I don't. So on that one, I don't know which meeting or commitment or whatever he's referring to.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President, on that. Finally, if you may allow, recently there has been reports about a planned oil refinery by Dangote in the East African region, in Kenya specifically. And then reports also, were saying Kenya is, he had offered a stake, 30% stake. And then they mentioned Kenya, Rwanda, Ethiopia, and other interested countries. Has there been such a conversation on Rwanda potentially acquiring a stake in that project, that oil refinery? Just in case, thank you.
In a way, there has been. But it is too early to talk about the details, because I think it is work in progress. Things are still being thought out. But what I can say is that Rwanda would be very happy to be part of that kind of investment.
Thank you, Excellency. I'll take another question. Yes, Miriam? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mariam, and I'm a content creator from Morocco. I have been cycling around the continent for the last 3 years, crossing 34 African countries. And while traveling, I saw how...
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And while cycling, I saw how much it was challenging and expensive to cross borders. And
especially Rwanda's.
Rwanda was visa-free, so I was glad this
I thought it was challenging in terms of mountains and...
No, the physical challenge was easier than the borders crossing.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so while crossing, I saw how this limits African connection with each others. Yeah. But we saw how Rwanda was example of African interaction and making it easier, like for African to cross the country or visit the country. Mm-hmm. And my question for Your Excellency, what's the example of the mindsets you can give like to African leaders to make it easier for Africans to connect and build opportunities together? Thank you.
Right. Well, to begin with, I don't want even remotely to be perceived like I'm thinking for other people. I think for myself, and together with Rwandans, we think for ourselves. We can think together with others if they want, so if they invite us, if they think it is helpful. But we always want to do our best at home here. But in the meetings we have had, and there have been several at different government official levels of different countries on our continent, to talk about this visa-free or making really ease of crossing borders and so on and so forth. We give our opinion, not only our opinion, but example of what we are doing for ourselves, so that other people either may, because what we are telling them, first we demonstrate that we have not encountered any serious problems by making it easy for people to cross our border, in or out. We just demonstrate that. We haven't found any problems. What we have discovered are only benefits. And that's what we share with the people. We tell them, for us, in our experience, we have discovered the benefits. And we tell our brothers and sisters, why wouldn't you want these benefits yourselves? But that's where we stop, because we can't do anything for anybody else. So, yeah, we keep doing what we think is best for us, or even for the continent, that is within our means, and keep sharing it, and keep looking forward to working together with others in the continent to do really what is expected. That's the only thing we can do. Yeah. So otherwise, I mean, one of the benefits is that you can be there and tell the story. You didn't lose anything, we didn't lose anything. I think we gained that you were able to come to our country and do whatever you want to do, and you will leave when you want to leave, and you will come back sooner rather than later. And that's, so imagine if it was multiplied thousands or millions of times, the benefits the Africans would have in that.
Thank you, Excellency. Shall we take a question from Iramide, the front? The front.
Good day, Mr. President. My name is Iramide Aji. I'm an actor, digital creator from Nigeria. It's my first time in Rwanda, and I must say it's beautiful. Thank you for having myself and the other creators. I'll be speaking from the perspective of a creative, essentially, and tying it to the ASG theme for this year. If Met-Africanism is pretty much about moving from simply recognizing our shared identities as Africans to more or less building together at this time and building meaningful connections, what does that exactly mean for the African creative industries? Essentially, if you have to put in place some policies or whatever changes as the president to further help African creators, African creatives in general, you know, build sustainable careers, collaborate together, and essentially tell our stories ourselves on a global scale? What would that policy be? And I think because you just said something almost similar to my question in response to Miriam's one, because you don't want to think for the rest of Africans, I think you should just tell us from the perspective of your position as the president of Rwanda, what exactly would Rwanda do to help build a better ecosystem for African creatives? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. First, the African creatives exist, and that's why you are there and doing whatever you're doing. So you already have pretty much in ideas of what could be done. In fact, I would even flip the question and ask you, since you started the journey yourself, and it's a good thing that you really happen to be, and with all the work you've done or what you've gone through, what are the hindrances you've encountered on the way that you thought and said, no, but if this thing was not like this, maybe I would do better, I would be better in service of the creative industry. So bear that in mind as well, because that helps me to say, oh, so meaning the task is for both of us. You tell me from your experience, and I will respond to that with my responsibility at the policy level to make sure that the obstacles you meet maybe shouldn't be there, and therefore they should be removed. You see what I mean? Yes. This conversation is already useful. You are there, and like others who raise it, whether it is the AFCFTA or, you know, the lady from Morocco who was riding through this country, and the creative, and so you're all having a journey in your minds and in your experiences and whatever professions. And in trying to go a step further every day, there might be challenges that raise in you some questions you should put to us and say, but how? How come that the proud African continent that wants to achieve this and that, at least we make all this understood in the way of statements. How can you be the ones at the same time who create these obstacles? Really, this should be a very serious conversation, and you should not hesitate to raise it. Rather than for me to say, you know, as the president, I will try and do this and do that. Maybe some of the things I even have in mind to do are not answering your questions. Yes, I want, give us what you think, and then let's talk about it. Let's find a way to, right? You want to give him a microphone, he wants to say something. Please, whoever has a microphone, where are you? No.
Thank you, sir. I think you have rightfully made a fantastic point. It's clear that it takes two to tango in this situation. Now, from my POV as a growing filmmaker, I work in one of the biggest film industries out of Africa, and that's Nollywood. I hope for a time when the talent that we have in Nollywood can transcend into more African countries. And I'm not even saying outside of Africa continent right now, because I think that we don't have a talent problem here in Africa. It's more of a connection issue. And now what Rwanda is doing is beautiful, bringing creators from across the continent to connect. And I think we've collaborated more because we're now in the same space, and you're doing something as beautiful as the ESG initiative. If there's a request that I would make to make this easier, as regards connection from one African country to another, which helps creators better, would be that, I know that you've tried it before, because you said that you've tried advising people about the benefits of, hey, make the borders a little bit more easier for people to come in. And, you know, of course, you can't think for them. You've shown them the benefits, it's up to them to decide. We would just make a little bit more requests that, please, for our sake, just maybe from initiatives like this, and of course the stories that we will tell as creators out there for people to see, just help us find a better way to
nudge them.
Yes, like, guys, I want you guys to see it. So well, maybe our presidents and policymakers would do better. Thank you so much.
I'll try that and anything that can be. You know, one time I had an opportunity. I also had recently, there were some leaders from Nigeria. One time I met governors, came here. They came here, I think they had been organized by UNDP or something. They are the ones who asked from Nigeria. They came all the way here. There were about 16 of them, if I remember well. And they had the governors and their representatives, they themselves came here. And they came here because I think through the interaction with the UNDP and others, they had learned of a number of things that maybe that could be useful to them in the governance area if they tried it. So I had a very long chat with them. I varied my time. What I did was to take them through where we have been and how we have come to be where we are by the time they visited. And I said, there are aspirations, people want to, come from one position to another, but it's all about how you can improve. It's always going forward and better. So I took them through everything I could think of. I said, for you, some of your states have bigger GDPs than Rwanda's. So it's not for you even an issue of resources. You have resources. But what do you want to do with your resources and how to the benefit of your different categories of people? Meaning, I don't control their GDPs, their budgets, their money. No, it is them who control it. So where do you want to put it? And that's why I was giving them what we are going through and where we put our money and why and so on and so forth. But also, governance is just not about that. It is also about some of the things we are talking about. Making it easy for people to do what they can and want to do. The ease of doing anything for people. I took them through that, and I also showed how deliberately we put some laws in place to actually facilitate that. But it's not the laws that are going to deliver, it's again the practice. The practice that includes accountability and different things. So I took them through all that. So therefore, the whole idea was, And by the way, we included how crossing of borders, from one country to another. And the other day in another meeting here in Kigali, there was one of the great Nigerians, very wealthy man, who told us a story, how he went to some country in Africa, they literally at the airport told him to go back. And this is a man, a wealthy man, worth billions. So. And even has investments in that country. But they turned him back at that airport. They only allowed the pilots, I think, to go and sleep because they had been flying for so many hours. I mean, why go through that, and why take somebody through that? What is the benefit? What is the principle behind it? So these are some of the things, and it is everybody's task. Those who want to do whatever they want to do, to keep voicing that and saying, please, don't stand in our way. What we are doing is not harmful to anybody, but beneficial to everybody. What is the answer going to be from those who create obstacles? I don't understand. So anyway, let's keep trying. Let's each do our parts from whatever vantage point we are, but working together even more, we can make a difference. I'm sure the story of the lady from Morocco, so riding through, first of all, cycling across Africa is very impressive on its own. I mean, for somebody to try and put a roadblock for that, I mean, I don't know. It must be crazy. Yes. So, yeah, we can keep talking about it, but there are things that are self-inflicted, problems that are self-inflicted here on our continent, to say the least. Self-inflicted. There are problems we create for ourselves. But let's keep trying.
Thank you, sir. We'll take one more question. Scovia, please, go ahead.
Mr. President.
Exchange nabonye hagati yawe na Minister Olivier byari ibiki? Interested kumenya uko nayo ukurikiranye nkagerageza kureba ikibazo kirimo nkakibura. Now I want you to mbere yo kumbaza banza unsobanurire menye ibyabaye niki.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, ikibazo cyabaye ko ntazi igifaransa neza ku rwego nyakubahwa Minisitiri yumvaga nkwiye kuba nkiziho, ngerageza gushyira ijambo rye mu Kinyarwanda kugira ngo Abanyarwanda bumve, aje kunsubiza ko ntabikoze neza. Hari ku cyumweru
yakosoraga Ikinyarwanda
ni ukuvuga ngo hari message yari yanditse cyangwa ubutumwa mu Gifaransa, asubiza yavugaga kuri ishu ya Kongo, hari abo ibyo yasubizaga tugerageza gushyira mu Kinyarwanda. Ngira ngo ntitwabivuga neza nk'uko Igifaransa kibivuga, tugerekeje.
Ariko se kuvuga neza hari icyo mwanyuranyijeho se cyo yavugaga?
Ntabwo twakimenye kugeza ubu kubera ko
ndavuga isi ushobora kuba yaravugaga ikintu mukagisobanura mu buryo butandukanye n'ibyo yavuze. Ubwo ni nko kuvuga ngo mwavuze ibyo atavuze, ariko hari no kuvuga ibyo yavuze wenda mu rurimi we yumva rudahagije. Biratandukanye.
Yego.
Icyo cya kabiri nge nta kibazo mbonamo, kuba wavuga ibyo navuze n'ubu ngubu nimuva nugenda ugasobanura ibintu navuze cyangwa nashubije, mu nzira iyo nabishyiragamo ariko wenda ururimi rukagobwaho akantu gato ntabwo njye nabibonamo ikibazo ariko ugiye ugahindura ibyo navuze Yesu ukavuga ko navuze no ubwo biba byahinduye isura aho niho nagira ikibazo niko byagenze or what happened
ntabwo twigeze duhindura icyo yavuze nuko tutakivuze mu gifaransa ngira ngo cyanyacyo kuko na message
mutabisobanuye mu kinyarwanda ngo gihwanye n'igifaransa cyiza yavuze noneho ushaka intambara z'ubusa kweri
hanyuma aza gusubiza ndabyibuka hari ku cyumweru ngira ngo hari nuko nari njyenyine iyo mba ndi kumwe n'undi aba yarangiriye inama itari igisubizo natanze kuko naje mvuga nti ntiwigeze utubwira ikosa twakoze ngo turikosore kuko we yagaragazaga ko dukwiye gusubira kwiga igifaransa kandi koko sinkizi ariko abo dukorana bamwe baba bagerageje ngira ngo naho habaye kutumvikana na nyuma ndisegura kuko ntari ku rwego wenda rwo gusubiza
ariko wiseguriraga iki
ko nashubije minisita ndi umunyamakuru muri urwo buryo n'ubu ndacyasaba imbabazi
oya bishoboka ahubwo azagusaba imbabazi ariwe kuko ibi bya protocol iby'abajanesi ntabwo birimo protocol Yes, ndabona ushaka icyo kintu ndashaka kuko nabonye hari ugusaba imbabazi sinabyumva kudasobanura neza ariko nabyo bifite ikindi bivuze bibiri
neza ni ukuvuga ko ibyavugwaga mu gifaransa si byo byavugwaga mu kinyarwanda biratandukanye si ukuvuga ko ikinyarwanda cyari kibi oya ntabwo cyasobanuraga icyo igifaransa cyavuga
byanyuranye bite
it was not opposite sinibuka neza ariko icyo gihe twarabibonye twese tuti niba mutazi igifaransa nta mpamvu yo gukomeza kuvuga mu kinyarwanda mwihimbira
ariko ubwo namwe mwagiye mu rurimi gusa ntimwareba content njye ndashaka kumbwira content
nyakubahwa unyemereye
buretse
content nuko
cyanyuranyijeho ni iki yavuze iki ku buryo kinyuranyije n'icyo undi yari yavuze
aho izo mvi